That's where my Jackie Brissett then overtook us again and ran. I was like, oh dear. I was doing so well.
But yeah, there was a great little downhill bit on that, section, quite rocky.
Which we ran together for quite a way, because we're looking at that point, we're looking at the watch going...
Oh, we're not doing...
what were we, like 8 mile or something, were we? 8-9 mile?
Yeah.
We were quite well into the race, weren't we?
Coming on about 7.5.
That just shows you how much running there actually was in this race, because actually there wasn't many obstacles.
No, I'd say probably that would have been about 8 obstacles, 9 obstacles.
Yeah, so there wasn't many obstacles, and we were quite far in. And 8 mile in, I think we were an hour 40. I remember thinking to ourselves, weren't we?
And then we went more forest running into
lots of like technical trails through the woods.
I liked that bit.
Up and down.
Really liked the technical trail running. There wasn't enough of it for me.
No.
I would have preferred more. But then we burst out and it was Twister.
Oh, it was Twister. I forgot about Twister.
We came
completely.
into the field.
So that's where you caught me up. No, that was where you caught me up, wasn't it?
Because I was running behind you.
I was well ahead of you, wasn't I, by about a minute or so.
I could basically, when I went on the straight, I kind of just got on there, and you were all about halfway down the straight.
Yeah.
And then I
come up to Twister, dry my hands on anything I could find to dry my hands on.
So I went on to Twister. I think you went on just before me, and there were 3 other guys on Twister. I got on, I went straight through and overtook everybody on Twister.
And me. I like to go sideways really slowly just to make sure I'm not looking at these. But actually it was so dry, and it was probably the easiest Twister I've ever done. Even to the point, I don't know if it was thicker, but it felt like, it wasn't, it's the same, but it felt like to me when I was on it, actually I could have been brave enough to monkey swing it, because it was so dry, it was almost sticky.
Yeah,
it was weird.
It was dry, and it was perfectly clean. All the bars I noticed were lined
perfectly. The actual volunteers were moving them.
Yeah, and they were lined perfectly. So every time I got to a transition, I didn't have to move it. I just grabbed it, boom, boom, boom. That's why I went through. After that, we went on to the tyre pool.
That's right, yeah, tyre pool. So they had 2 new obstacles for me.
Yeah.
So I saw this tyre and I shouted out to Luke, didn't I, because we were running together. I was like, oh, tyre flip. And when we got there, it wasn't. It was actually like a drag.
So you dragged the tyre out, and then it had a rope on it, and you basically put it in.
A bit like plate drag, but with a tyre.
Plate drag with a tyre. Also, here they had
Did yours get caught up?
Mine did. I dragged it out perfect. It was easy.
Yeah.
Now, I half pulled it in, and it got caught on a lump, and I moved my foot in, so I had to like readjust. That's when you finished.
Yeah, I finished and gone. Yeah.
I did 2 massive pulls and just like eked it in. I was like, oh, it's not good for the hamstrings. The other one though, they did have plate drag, and this was plate drag. They had the plate, you put the bar across.
Oh yeah, it was like a horse, what?
And you had to like kind of push it, and then you had to switch back and push it. That was actually kind of by the lake.
I got very lucky. I picked probably the easiest plate drag because I was on mud.
Female one.
I don't know if it was a female one, but it was on mud.
Yeah.
So as I got it pulling, it actually slid with me, and vice versa. Really weirdly, when I got back to my hotel room, when I got back to my deluxe VW,
deluxe van,
and I was watching Facebook Live, I saw the guy, again Sergi and Albert Solly, really struggle with that. And I'm thinking, I'm pretty sure I did that really easy, but when I look at it, there was literally your lane, the one you did, was all grass.
Yeah.
So as you were pulling, it was getting all caught up.
Well, actually, again with that, I did the outwards one easy, but the backwards one
was difficult
because I'd gone. The grass basically was like that.
Yeah, it
moved over. Pushed it there.
Yeah.
So when I came back, it was like lifting it up.
I was just fortunate enough that I picked the right plate and it just moved easy.
I think you just had a good one that had mud on both sides.
Flat, yeah. And then that's where I got a bit ahead of you again.
So
running a bit more.
We did the tyre, then there was a lot more running, and then after the tyre, I can't remember where we were at that point. I think there was another hill, some kind of bit more hill running.
It was all bloody hilly. So that's not even thought, because the problem was at that point we could hear also the commentator for Spartan talking.
Yeah.
So we knew we were
in the distance.
We knew we were going back to Morzine, roughly, and we know our watches said about 11 mile or 10.5 mile. So we did that horrible spin. Do you know what? We're nearly there. And then that's when I started thinking, we're on for a shit hot time here, and I'm like, we must be about 30 or 34, 30, somewhere there. And Luke's going, no, it can't be. And as we came around the corner, we saw this hill and people going up it. And then Luke said to me, I remember you saying this to me, that must be the age groupers going out on that hill that we started on.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, how wrong were we? Shit! it!
So, after this little bit of more running, we came around the corner and there was a second rope climb.
Oh my god. Oh, it was a second rope climb, yeah.
Second rope climb. Come off the second rope climb, which was by one of the ski lift things.
Yeah.
Went round the corner, a little bit more running, and then there was a balance beam.
Yep.
The wooden balance beam.
Yeah.
Easy. There was no. It was a.
One of those. I think this particular race that we did last yesterday in the winter would be super tough.
Oh yeah. If it had been raining that
slick,
weekend,
it would be hard. Yeah.
It was not an easy race, but it would have been awful if it was raining.
Yeah.
So we did those two. Then we went a bit further down. This is when we thought, oh, hang on, we're not doing too bad.
Yeah.
We're coming downhill now, a bit more.
So about the noise, we are in a public cafe. So
yeah, well, we've taken refuge.
Taken refuge. People looking at us like, what are these two idiots doing?
Who are these guys?
The two Brits.
So then we came up to another vertical climb.
Oh my god! And it was no carries. It was just a climb.
Just a huge.
And I kept saying to Luke, we haven't done the bucket yet. And I was trying to, in my head, I was trying to work out what hadn't we done. And the bucket was obviously one we hadn't done.
We also knew we hadn't done the sandbag.
Oh, the sandbag. So I'm like, we've only got a mile left. There's no way.
Well, no.
There is no way.
At this point, we were thinking, it's going to be 12 or 13 miles.
Which is what Beast is.
Yeah, I think it turned. Well, my watch clocked 14.75. So they obviously made it a little bit more challenging for being a championship.
Yeah, no,
so we made it all the way up to the top of the climb, which was not easy. We were struggling. We were like,
it was one step at a time, wasn't it?
Yeah. I even all fought it at one point. I was like,
we were climbing like bears. We were bears.
Bear grilled it up.
Bear grilled it. I like it. We didn't grill anything, mate.
No, I grilled myself.
We were being grilled. That's the other factor we haven't mentioned, because it was so freaking hot.
It was warm.
I personally, they'll take the piss out of me, but I personally was really struggling with hydration. I actually felt.
Right, so yeah, we were up the steep hill.
Being bear grilled.
Also almost getting crumpled by some cows that were coming across the field.
So at this point it was not going well. I was dying of hydration.
Yes.
You were being killed by cows. And to be honest with you, when we looked up the hill, we still couldn't see a finish.
Couldn't see the top.
And that was what I think morally for me, that was it was the hardest thing of the whole race, is that actually you never really knew in true Spartan style where the pain was where you could start enjoying it. Like every time you sit and looked behind you and thought, I'm going to take a bit of the view in, you forgot that your legs were still screaming.
Oh yeah.
And this was just a small amount of what was to come. This horrid bear grilled hill, which is now going to be called. And we got to the top and it sort of flattened off a little bit, and I could hear this clinking.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking,
We kind of just went around the corner, a little bit, and there were some boxes, metal carts with the chains in. So if anybody's watched any of the European races, Italy, Spain, France, they normally do a chain carry. They did it last year in the European Championships in Andorra that I did, so I kind of thought, they're going to have the chain somewhere. And here it was. They picked maybe the worst point to do it.
And do you know what as well, I noticed they don't take them out the trays for you.
Nope.
So you've got to find a chain that's loose, because I pulled a few and they were not moving.
No.
Fortunately, I got one that was on the top. Fortunately, I think it was you or someone the night before. It wasn't you because you weren't there.
I wasn't there.
Someone told me that to leave the chain slightly hanging at the back, opposed to putting it all around your neck,
just
so you're not slumped over.
Even yourself out. You've got a bit of weight here and a bit of weight there.
The only problem with that is when you're tired and you're going uphill, when the chain does naturally let go, which it did a couple of times on you, you do get twatted in the back of the head with a very, very heavy chain.
I've got a bit of a lump behind my ear where I slipped at one point and the whole chain from this right side just went gadoosh.
I could just hear,
I was like, it fucking hurt at the time. It was not fun. So anyway, the chain was up quite a steep hill.
Again, staircase style.
Again, kind of staircase style, really steep. And then it flattened out, and then it was a bit of a down and back round to the thing. But it was not easy. That explanation sounds like it was quite short.
Yeah.
But the up was brutal. It was just like, I've done
How many minutes do you reckon? 10, 15?
Yeah, and we had just done about 15 minutes or
So,
10 on the hill.
Yeah.
And then you got the chain, and you're just like, oh, this just relentless uphill effort.
That's the right word, relentless.
Yeah, it was relentless. Everywhere you went, you thought, oh, it's flattening out now, and then there's another hill. So we got through the chain. We were like, okay, this is the last hill. It's got to be the last hill.
Yeah.
So we were like, boom, straight down. And we kind of could see a bit of some houses. We're like, oh, we're quite near the event village. We've got to be coming back into the town. And
Got to be close.
It was hitting about 12-ish kind of miles, maybe a bit more. And we're thinking, okay, it's going to be last mile will be around the village.
Yeah.
We're doing quite good. I'm still moving. We're still fresh enough. And then did we go back round and find the sandbag then?
I think it was almost next to it. So we came down off that hill, dropped the chain, gave ourselves a huge sigh of relief. It was a little bit downhill, and that again was a bit false, because then we thought, right, now we really are going in.
Yeah, we were moving quite well. We went across that little bridge.
At that point, again, we were still in very good position. I must admit, we were like I was, and feeling good, and
I was still moving.
In my mindset, I was still in good position.
Yeah.
But of course, then, true Spartan style, they took us up probably the biggest hill you could ever see, with no visual top. Oh, and here's a £50 sandbag to take with you.
Yeah, big blue £50 sandbag, and it was almost vertical. For anyone that did OCR Worlds last year, kind of think the rec bag climb, but to the top of the hill. Or if you did Edinburgh Spartan race last year,
the worst hill there was.
Think the worst hill in that race,
and then
but add
carry
a
it back.
sandbag on you.
It was, I think it clocked a mile on Strava. And even the downhill wasn't really downhill.
The downhill was quite treacherous.
Yeah,
there was a guy
that
went to go really fast by me, and he actually stacked it.
Took it.
And he
Which
was
is dangerous,
okay,
man.
but he could have rolled down the hill because you're just on a mountain.
And to answer it, I think looking back now, that's where the race was made. I reckon, not just my personal race, but I reckon at least 50 people races were made on that one hill. I think if you were anywhere near the top, I mean, let's forget the top 20. Top 20 at that point was set and done. Those guys are quick. There's definitely a class
between them. They were moving.
Yeah,
moving in their own.
They're
little
all mountain
thing.
goats. They're all French. They're all live in the Alps.
Yeah, you're looking at the other people. I definitely know on that hill about 4 to 5 people passed me on the up.
Yeah,
and I maybe took about 2 to 3.
Yeah, and I had at least 10 people. I lost about 10 places on the hill. So we were together on this hill, and it was just a case of grind for a few seconds, put the bag down, sit and chill. Grind for a few seconds, and that's what it became for me.
A lot of people did. They were going 10 steps, drop the bag. I made a little pact to myself that I will make it to the next Spartan tape that was on the thing. Then I'm going to put my bag down. I did that all uphill, and I just carried on going. By about halfway, you had kind of stopped. Dehydration was getting the best of you, and you were slowing.
I was struggling.
I was just in a little mindset that I'm just going to keep pushing, just
to be honest,
keep going.
It's the first time in a race I've actually thought about not stopping, because that's wrong. I'll never quit a race. But the first time I actually thought, you know what, I might have to, from health point of view, stop, because I wasn't feeling good. My mouth was like cardboard. You know, I needed some fluids. I needed some electrolytes back in my system. I needed some energy from somewhere. Yeah. Fortunately, someone gave me this a French guy stopped and gave me this drink, which I thought was water, and it was like a minty energy drink, but it tasted like a really bad, like cheap, mouthwash. But I didn't care. It watered the palate, and I was wet for about 5 seconds. That sounds really wrong.
You were hydrated for 5 seconds.
And then Ben Comrie fortunately gave me a salt tab.
Yeah, the precision hydration salt tablet he gave you, which worked, which are very good.
Which probably made me finish the race, otherwise I'd still be up that mountain now, I think. And then you seem to have this sort of like little pact to yourself that you were going to go on and carry on.
I just got it on my back, and I thought, I'm going to make it to the top of this hill, and I will make it down.
And what looked like the top of the hill, I remember shouting to you at this point. You're only about 10 metres away from me, and I shouted to you, is that the top, Luke? Is that the top? And you sort of went, yeah, I think so. And then when I looked again, he'd gone. So I was like, oh, it must be the top.
It was the top, but then you kind of turned right.
You couldn't really
and then
see.
You went into reeds, and then it was still a bit more climb. And I was like, when I got into the reeds, I was like, oh my god, I've still got to do this. Drop the bag up. But luckily, when it went flat and down, I didn't drop the bag once. So I just said, I'm keeping the bag on.
That's the exact same thing to me. I said, I've got Luke somewhere there.
Yeah.
I've got Ben behind me. You know, all I need to do is carry on moving.
Yeah,
and
1 foot,
I
2
used
foot.
that little bit, and the downhill I used the momentum of the bag to get my speed back up, drop the bag, then it was literally off that bag drop down into the, and you could almost feel you going back into the village.
So yeah, we were coming down, and then there was a water station after the bag.
Oh my god, which was heaven. I think I
Everybody-
downed about 9 pints of water, the
I
bottle.
Yeah, there was a volunteer there with a full bottle of water asking, do you want water over you? Do you want to be covered in water?
So that just shows you
'Cause it
that
was
they
warm.
realised that it
Oh
was.
no, they knew. And in there as well, they had little salt packets or electrolyte packets.
Yeah.
So I actually did a full
didn't
cup
see
of
that.
water, and I did an electrolyte packet.
Oh, is that what
as
they
well.
were?
Yeah. So it looked like little salt things, but it was
Yeah.
a little electrolyte thing. So you just rip that open, throw it in your water.
Yeah.
Downed all of that, and I
Yeah.
felt so much better going.
Oh,
back
okay,
into-
that's where I went wrong.
That stopped all of my. I had a little bit of cramp, like on the downhill. It's twinged, and I was like, "Oh."
By far, the downhill is a lot
Yeah.
worse than the uphill.
This was because you had to control your speed going down, and I thought, "Oh, hello, this is gonna go," and that stopped it all. And then we were back into the village, kind of like winding roads through the street. Then we came back round, and the little 2-foot hurdles that I jumped everyone on the way
Yeah,
out.
was not a
I had to
jump.
one hand,
Yeah.
legs over, one hand, legs over.
I jumped the first one, I think. I was like, oh yeah. No.
No, I was one hand in it
I
all
have me
the
today.
So kind of like parkour style, hopping over it with one hand.
We kind of knew at that point we had, we knew what obstacles, because we'd obviously been walking around Morzine that day.
Pretty much. The only obstacle I didn't know that they had there was the slack line, because I hadn't seen it because it was
Yeah.
a bit higher.
Yeah.
So did all those, came around the corner. There was the stairway to Sparta, which is the 2 big crates.
Yeah.
If you've seen any of the videos, they'll have the cargo net over the 2 crates,
Yeah.
which nice easy obstacle up and over.
Slackline?
They had the slack line as well, which I got halfway and my legs started like shaking, and I came off. I was like, oh my lord.
So note to self, I also came off that trying to be using it as it actually is, like a slack line, because I've got a slack line and I can do a slack line, but I tried to be too balancy and I came off.
Yeah, it was very tight. They'd
What
pulled
we
it
should have probably
almost
done is
tight.
like everyone else did,
Quick.
was 1 foot banging off. So note to self, learn it.
Wow.
Don't do burpees at the slack line, but we both got burpees at the slack line.
I got my burpees at slackline, which sucked, but
I know at
just
that point I was dying. So
put my t-shirt down, got through my 30 burpees. Luckily, the only other guy that was near me at the time also got burpees.
Yeah.
No one passed me on there, so I didn't.
it not?
No, I didn't lose anything on the slack
That's
line.
cool.
I would have loved to have not done burpees though.
Yeah.
So I did that. Then it was the hoist.
Hoist.
Hoist was nice and easy, bit
Yeah.
of a thicker rope
Yeah.
than we've now got in the UK.
Yeah.
Also,
It's nice to have a nice light hoist.
big wooden brace that you could put your foot against
Yeah.
that didn't move at all.
Spearman,
Brilliant.
straight in.
Yep, spearman, boom, straight in.
It's a nice spear, nice big thick.
Yeah, I put a
Proper
nice
spear.
video on Instagram of me doing the spear. Luckily, my girlfriend got a great video, so you can have a look at how the setup was. It was on a tennis court.
Yeah.
They had all the spearmen on the tennis court.
Yeah.
Nice big hay bale, easy.
Yeah.
Then there was a little run to get into the lake that ran by the kind of like the centre or the near the start
Like
line.
a river ravine, wasn't it?
River ravine. So we went all the way through that. It was actually really nice. So
It
cool,
felt good on the
refreshing.
legs. It felt good on the legs. I was drinking it.
So then it was up. There was a 8-foot wall, or
Yeah, it was
6
9 foot.
9 foot wall, which was fine.
It was
but
double they have in the UK, but they've got the supporting slat in the middle, and actually it was quite well because you could get your foot on there, you just get over without any effort,
it
no
was-
muscling up.
it was nice. I did muscle.
You
up.
muscle up, I
Yeah.
didn't. I didn't.
I was just like, I'm saving the legs. And then they had the multi-rig, which is really good. Parallel bar to go up sideways.
Yeah, sort of an
Monkey
angle.
bars, 2 and then 2.
Yeah.
Then you had three ropes
With knots.
and then it was rings, basically Spartan head rings that they've
Yeah.
got in Europe. Then it was kind of little small wooden A-frame up and over, and then finish line was there as well. The fire jump, I liked it because they had little ramp, fire jump in the middle, little ramp down. I did a nice jump over that.
you?
My finish line picture will look cool.
Yeah, I was pretty pathetic on my phone. Bear in mind, time I'd done burpees on the slack line, I was so pissed off with myself. I then took burpees at multi-rig as well. I was too cocky. I swung too much. Didn't quite have enough grip on the skull on the ring
Yeah.
head. And then when I let go of the rope on this hand, it was just kaput on the floor. I was doing burpees and I just tried to see the funny side of it and just enjoy the rest of the race. And
but all in all, like we've been talking about the race for weeks now, talking about what this race is, etc., etc. But I think for especially a lot of the guys who had run the UK races this year, like consistently, you can see that we were in the 40s and behind.
Yeah.
This is not a race that any of us have really been training specifically for. We're not conditioned for it. We do have hilly races in the UK, but they are not anything by far like this.
It's a different breed, isn't it?
I did Andorra last year, and that also was nothing like in a UK race. It was hard, it was hilly. This beat Andorra hands down as my personal hardest race of all time.
Oh, for sure, for me.
Personal hardest race. I was very happy to finish.
It was brutal race.
It was brutal. I was very happy to finish and to beat my position from last year. Last year I was 55th male, 60th overall. I think this year is 49th or 48th, something like that, and 43rd or 42nd male.
For me, it's kind of nice to gauge against the Europe's top. You know, like, you just don't know how good you are until you go up against these boys, and then you realise that actually, I know it's different because they train in these mountains, what have you. But you realise that if you want to be good at these races, you want to be top 10, top 5 at these races. You know, I mean, even Conor Hancock from UK did the best in the UK.
Yeah, he came
in the
19th.
male. He came 19th. Do you know what I mean?
Which is really good.
Which actually is incredible
for this race is amazing.
Considering this race, and we can't obviously miss out Andrew Bequez, who came 6th in the ladies. I'm still not sure how she did that.
So amazing,
epic,
amazing,
absolutely race. Epic. I mean, some of the women coming past us on the chain.
Yeah, God. Susanna Kotsamova passed us at one point, and she was flying. Didn't look like she
I was actually a little bit embarrassed.
Out of breath. No,
well, no,
I wouldn't be embarrassed getting chicked by Susanna Kotsamova. I'm sure she has beaten many a man in all the races that she does. So, and she killed the race, and again won as the female champion.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll do results quickly. So you had Susanna Kotsamova as the female champion.
Yeah.
You had a Slovenian girl who I cannot pronounce her name, so I will not try to do it. She came second.
Yep.
She was an amazing runner, by the way.
Yeah, she was.
Downhill, she flew.
She was the young girl, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was the young Slovenian girl.
And then it was
Marion Busset. She came third. She raced the 2 races in Ireland this year in the UK series, so you might have seen her race. She won both of those.
And she's old as well.
She's advanced in years. She's Jack. She's advanced. But still an experienced runner, as she should be always called.
On the men's side?
Then over at the men's we had Sergei Perrin. I'm probably pronouncing his last name wrong, but the Russian guy, he's a machine. He won the race by a few minutes over Albert Solé, Spanish basically champion, and then. So yeah, third place of the race was an interesting one because there was 2 people that came third place overall. So you had John Luma. We will refer to him as that because I cannot pronounce any.
Jonah Luma Limba.
Jonah Hula Hula. So he actually came third in the race, but because he is an American, he couldn't claim the title of European third place champion. So he shared the third place title with Theo Jean, French guy. Theo Jean is the European third place champion, and John Lumalimba is the third place beast champion of Morzine. So he got
Welcome to Audio. How to destroy names in 2 minutes.
It's easy. So basically, yeah, third place was shared, but
we will tag them all on this podcast as well. All results, all media, all pictures as well.
We'll tag everything. Congratulations.